While we ventured away from his progress for quite a while now, in Universe 11, Gohan appears to perform an awakening ritual similar to the one he had several years ago. However, this iteration appears to be more introspective and conscientious than the previous. Will Gohan emerge completely transformed from this experience? But don't be fooled, he is not the focus of our story at the moment. Amaron, the Venerable Heir, had read the memories of Dula and discovered the wonder he felt about Salaga. From this panel, we seem to get a glimpse of the origins of their relationship. Salaga must have been a type of parental or big brother figure to Dula, who looks much younger in age. He understood, much later, that Amaron had sent Salaga to meet him, because Dula could never have refused a proposal from the person he admired most. We can assume that this revolves around joining Amaron's ranks. The opportunistic nature of the Venerable Heir led him to play on Dula's feelings, using them against him to win his devotion. Dula was equally quick to understand this, but he didn't attach any importance to it, since their respective objectives were so closely aligned. In fact, Dula and the others shared a common vocation, glory, but on different scales, and it was moving forward with such prestigious people that convinced himself he couldn't dream of anything better. The echo of his name spread and merged with that of the magicians he admired. Salaga had always considered Dula to be his equal, so he was learning to do the same to see him as his most loyal companion. Clearly, these two have been through some of the most fierce battles and fought side by side. It's very likely a reality exists where they were the good guys of a story, but just one wrong step can lead any of us down a misguided path. Then, the Venerable Heir's efforts bore fruit and brought them closer to the highest authorities of Universe 14. Perhaps Dula and Salaga felt they had no choice in the matter, being summoned directly by the God of Destruction's apprentice. Or perhaps they didn't care so long they felt they were continuing along their own path of glory.
And what poor demon could boast of that? Have I left my mark on my era as Salaga did centuries before?
Dula thought to himself while on the threshold of the final death knell of his life. Dula saw himself as a banal entity moving through the darkness. But paradoxically, his deepest wish was to not end up in oblivion, but to be at the center of the cosmos' brightest light. With the news that his most cherished comrade has perished, he screams that he surely intends to go out with a bang. He quite literally reaches inside of himself as he unveils a technique that he calls the Death Pact. Broly can sense that his energy is concentrating to a single point. He's not gonna. Dula speaks.
Salaga, Venerable Heir, thank you two for making my life so exciting.
He questions the wizard if he really wants to end his life. After all, Broly's only stake in this was that these guys were attacking his friends. The villain announces,
Exactly, Saiyan! And you will come with me!
Careening off the planet and into the upper atmosphere, he continues that Broly has put him through his paces. He has now put all of his energy in trying to harm the beast, but it's no use and Broly is much too strong. But the Death Pact increases his power tenfold by conferring on him all of the power of his predecessor summoners. So we might as well tell the Saiyan that he has no chance of survival this time. What Dula likely means is that this attack will harness the power of all the wizards who came before him, and use their power in some way as a multiplier. And seeing this power firsthand, even our most brutal of Saiyans is amazed. Dula thinks to himself,
To die in a firework display visible to an entire planet. That's the bare minimum I deserve.
Sure enough, on the ground the Saiyans stop what they're doing to witness the spectacle. The light causes the night to become day for the brevity of the moment. The Admirals look on helpless to save Broly from the massive attack. It's also very likely that this technique could kill all of them too. Unless deployed from so far away it can't reach them. It seems plausible that for an attack this strong to take out even Broly, it'll certainly turn Planet Sadala into dust. Kale tries to open her eyes to see what's happening, likely also aware of the danger her friend is in. Kappa and Caulifla seem at first to be unaware that Broly's involved in this, but on that realization they know they need to hurry. And with Vegeta, he too shows his concern for one of their most powerful allies. In the back, Amaron is merely surprised that Dula decided to go ahead with it after all. With his sacrifice, He is the lone warrior in this cause. And if he can breathe in space, possibly the lone survivor after this. Looking on, the Destroyer comments, "If you ask me, your friend had to give up the ghost. That explosion, I'm not sure I could resist it myself." There's not much left Vegeta can say regarding this situation. It appears very likely that Broly's going to fall to Doola's attack, having made very little impact on this battle where he could have been and should have been the second most driving force in defeating these guys. But all is not lost yet. Still harnessing the damage this man imposed onto Cheelai. Everyone can sense and see that the explosion has stopped expanding. But how? Doola hisses,
What the hell are you doing? I forbid you to!
Even Amaron is completely bewildered at the reality set before him. That's Saiyan. When Vegeta exclaims that he's actually compressing the explosion. Looking utterly maniacal, Broly uses all of his power to suppress the energy being put out by the wizard. And clamping his hands around Doola's head, the final words of the wizard are spoken.
No, it's not true!
Ruba's there to catch him. Still barely conscious, he congratulates his Saiyan friend on a job well done. He saved them all and should be proud of himself. But right now, he only has one thing on his mind. Reaching over for Kale. She returns to sentiment. Someone in the background scrambles to get a Tuffle doctor over here. Broly pleads with Ruba to please tell him she's alright. However, she's not in very good condition. But Broly should thank her. It's because of her he was able to regain consciousness and break free of that berserk state. Now letting his emotions get the better of him, he cries that he's sorry for everything. He didn't mean to. Cutting himself off as he calls after Kale as she tries to get up. Causing Lariak to rush over and implore her not to move. She's in no condition to be aggravating herself. But with everything in her body, she needs to tell Broly that this isn't his fault. Although it may be because of his berserk state that she ended up like this. It wasn't his intention. He had no control. Broly knows this and wants to accept it, but... Move, Broly! Saving Broly from an absolutely brutal death. Amaron tried to take advantage of the situation to take out the one who made Doola sacrifice for nothing. The Destroyer admits that as far-sighted as he may be, he never thought for a second that his subordinates would die today. And they did. So he offers his sincere congratulations. However, Vegeta tells him where he can shove his pretty words. He then remarks how his wife is safe. Isn't that what matters? Which is true. He was so focused on the battle he hadn't felt her ki disappear. What a relief. Earlier and unknown to Vegeta, she had shrunk herself down to avoid detection. Because of this, it seemed like her energy had vanished. Turning his head back to the fight, he scolds, "So nothing seems to be going according to plan after all. God of Destruction?" Though he warns, "Please do not think your victory is a foregone conclusion. I won't let you go, Vegeta. I asked you to show me your maximum power, and you didn't obey. Yet I've seen it. In your recent memories. That's power. But now, I've lost my patience." Vegeta tries to alert everyone to watch out. The monster begins to swing his chain, chopping down anyone who happens to be in the way. Uba's in shock at the sight before him. His comrades. He too loses his composure as he transforms into a Super Saiyan. only to also be cut down by the destroyer. Falling to a knee, this doesn't seem like the type of injury one can recover from. Placing his hand at the Admiral's head, it looks like the end for him. When Broly swings his head around wondering where Vegeta went, who comes back to deliver a knee right to the god's face. Though the deity only gawks in amazement. Here it is. That's exactly what I saw! He used it! With the pair at a standstill and carnage all around him. It's now that King Sadala finally reawakens. He had lost consciousness after struggling with his own inner demons, namely around the brutality once caused by going Super Saiyan himself. He looks around for that demon he was fighting. What happened? He's told not to worry as that demon has been defeated by Broly. Only the Masked Man remains. Of course, this is a massive relief to the king. But what is this? Is it really? Prince Vegeta. What is this form that Vegeta has taken? Has he managed to unlock Ultra Instinct like Goku did at the Tournament of Power? Could it possibly be something new? With Amaron as the final piece to fall in this preemptive multiversal war, just how much power do our fighters have left?